What is going on, all you beautiful people out there? I hope you're all having a wonderful day, ending the week off on a really good note. Going into the weekend, hope you guys enjoy it. Take some time off from work. If you have to work throughout the weekend, then I understand. I feel the struggle. Boy, don't ever stop working. I work 8 days a week, and I forgot what today is. So, all right, we're gonna be breaking down what has occurred in the S&P 500 futures contracts, breaking down from top down, monthly, weekly, daily, down into our 30-minute time frame. I'll review a couple trades that I took throughout the day, and then I will review the DraftKings swing trade that I was discussing in yesterday's video, which looked to be doing pretty solid today. I took it on paper as I didn't want to take it in my real account. Wanted to see how it would play out with paper and just kind of see what would go on in that sense. So let's go ahead and start. Monthly, still balance. But what is occurring? We're getting closer to December's high, getting closer to breaking out of this tight little range that we've been in for the past 3 months to hopefully get above this trend line and take out the monthly balance high. That is what the bulls want. That's what buyers want to see. They want to see us get above this trend line. They want to see us get up to this monthly balance high and take it out. That is very well possible with what's going on next week. We got the Fed next week. We had another data come out today. Some more data came out, and I think it came in line. I'm not quite sure what it was. I think it was PCE. I couldn't tell you. I don't really care too much about these numbers, but the market seems to. But overall, the market will do what it wants to do, and here lately, it's been wanting to go up. So monthly in a balance. Break down our weekly. Weekly still inside that monthly balance, but weekly's been one time framing up, taking back more and more of that outside week down right here, right? Once we get above that, clear skies ahead for the weekly. So you're wanting to get above, zoom that out a little bit. You're wanting to get above this outside week down where we found a ton of sellers at 41.39. That 41.41 level is a huge target for us, which would be going into, I believe, that September high, if I'm not mistaken. Or yeah, roughly that September, November high in that range. Looking to take it out. Weekly's been one time framing up 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row since we took out that balance high 2 weeks ago. So weekly's one time framing up, getting above this trend line that everyone's been looking at. All right. Everyone in the financial world, as far as traders go, we've all been eyeing this trend line. We're breaking above it, but 1 week does not make a market. 2 weeks doesn't make a market. We want to see what happens after next week when the Fed comes in and gives us what they're going to do as far as Fed rates go. So, looking pretty good here as far as the weekly goes. Let's go into our daily. Let's look at what we're doing on our daily. All right. So, daily, breaking above that trend line down. This is where my trend line goes. Everybody else has, yours can, I mean, it can get here. Either way, we're above a trend line. Moving averages are starting to converge here on the ES, continuous contract by TOS. We are above our 3-day balance, 2 days now. So we're one time framing up 2 days. 2 days in a row. We have one time framed up. Um, we're looking to continue this coming into next week and into Monday before the Fed. Would not be surprised to see us consolidate, come into some type of balance and consolidate uh, prior to the Fed. Would not be surprised to see that, but buyers are wanting to see us continue to one time frame up. We want to get above this daily high here at 41.41. And above that, you got that gap up here, that weekly and daily gap above. We've been above the 200-day moving average now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Do we call this acceptance? Possibly. We'll have to see what comes into play next week when the Fed hits us. All right, let's go ahead and break down what occurred on the intraday. So in yesterday's video, I was discussing about how we had a price probe to the upside. And the most bullish thing you could do as buyers is to open above and find acceptance above the price probe. Well, we didn't quite open above the price probe. We opened just below it. But in previous days range, let me get rid of this freaking line. We opened up inside a previous day's range. Right here where this red line is, our open was at 40.6375. That's where our open was. So opening up below that price probe. So initially we did not find acceptance above this price probe. So that was one thing taken out, one destination that did not hold very well. Early on, we were kind of battling. We took out, I believe, the overnight high. We attempted to dip our toe into previous day's value. Now, what is value? Value is just 70% of the day's volume, of the total day volume in that area. So I just highlighted it here. So now you can clearly see it. But value is where 70% of the day's volume was occurring. It's where buyers and sellers were happy doing business, as well as point of control tends to be extremely popular area as well. But value, 70% of the day's volume was done in this range, right? So in A period, what happened? We opened up just above. We opened up just above value, pulled back into it, but did not find acceptance into previous day's value. What does that mean? That's just meaning clearly buyers want to see us test higher prices and move value up higher. And that's exactly what happened today. I said if we opened up inside M's range near the day's high, if we couldn't take out the previous day's high, then we'd rotate back down and potentially get into this afternoon pullback low in that 8Y point of control. But we never found acceptance in the previous day's value. So guess what? We rotate up, we take out the previous day's high, we take out our overnight high. Value is higher at the time. So buyers have three things in their favor. Then in B period, we open up, back test a little bit, couldn't quite get into A's low near the open. We begin to one time frame up. We take out that next daily target or that next target that we had set up for us here at 40.9075. So had I been home, I would have taken this long against previous day's value, would have gotten out below L's low because at that point I believe we would have found acceptance into the previous day's value and then rotated into this wide point of control here that was 8 wide. Not that significant, but would have been a target that sellers and algorithms would have gotten down into. However, that was a great long opportunity there to take out target the day's high and then potentially get the next daily high up here from December 14th of last year. So that's what we did in B period. Now in C period, we flushed out a little bit, came back in, stopped the one time framing up. Things got a little tricky because we dipped below the open. But look at this. We never got below A's low. We never took out the initial balance low because the initial balance, the IB, is the first hour, the first two 30-minute time frames of the day. We never took that out, meaning sellers were not that strong. All it was weak longs getting out. They got flushed out because they were anybody that was buying up here thinking this thing was going to continue to run got hurt, kind of like they did here in K and L period, and laggards stepped in later in the day, and M period just flushed them right on out. So same thing happened here in C period. Laggard buyers got caught up at B's high. We came in, they got flushed out. We got below the open, but we never took out the initial balance low. So things got a little bit tricky. Had to turn neutral here. We had two-sided trade. Buying and selling was a little bit of a rotation for a minute. We did not take out the initial balance until later in the day in G period. That's when I started to get involved. I got involved around E, F, and G. were the only time frames I took trades. Mostly on the long side. I got chopped up a little bit on the short side because I was trying to sell against the previous day's high. But let me take out these. Boop, boop. Then we begin after I got out of my trades. I got a haircut. We had an afternoon pullback low in H period, but that did not hold as later in the day after we had one time framed up again, had single prints in J period. K pushes up, continues the one time frame up. We get into that set of single prints from the 13th that I was discussing. You know, if we got above that daily high, those daily highs, we would target the single prints. Well, guess what? We got right into the single prints, 40.9850. Almost filled it as our high was 41.0925. We missed it by 3 points, or 2 points, excuse me. Missed it by 2 points, and then we back off. People were buying up here, and then they got flushed out in M period. We filled the set of single prints. More people that were long in this area got out, flushing it even lower. So all we go out with today is today's low and today's high. We do not have a really significant point of control. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide. Not significant. However, you have to take M period with a grain of salt, as Paul would say. Gotta take M period with a grain of salt because all it was just profit taking and weak longs getting out of the market, which caused this big flush. So as far as destinations go, let's go ahead and mark those. Let's go ahead and mark our daily low. Daily low 61.75. Now these were some large ranges. 61.75. We've had really good range. Volume hasn't been too great, but we've had really good ranges over the past several days. Let's see if that can continue going into next week. We got the low day here at today's date, the 27th. Boom. We got our low day. We don't go out with anything else. And then we have the day's high up here. We don't quite fill the set of single prints, so set of single prints now start from the 13th at 0925. 0925, and as you can see, there was not enough demand to fill the supply area, as some people would look at it. And then we have the high day 127.23. So we leave just 2 points of single prints above, and then above that is a vacuum to that 41.41 level, that high day from the 13th. Big line in the sand there. Do we get there, or do we open up in the day's value and just chop around going into Wednesday, Fed day of next week? Who knows? However, if we do open up inside today's value, inside today's range, and we take out the day's low, then we'll be putting the daily back into a balance. We'll stop one time framing up, we'll put the daily into a 3-day balance, and then maybe consolidate a little bit more. After you took out 40.61.75, you would look to rotate down to the afternoon pullback low at 40.43.25, and then if you really got some steam down to the downside, 40.27.25. Destinations far and wide between. If you were to open up inside and then look to take out today's high, which is where the single prints from the 13th also start, 41.09.25. They fill at 41.11.25, and then that target up here at 41.41. So let's go ahead and break down what happened with our DraftKings swing. All right, pretty good stuff there. Let's go to our larger time frame. I believe I have it on here. Yep. Boom. So what is happening with DraftKings? Right, we're above the 200-day moving average. We are getting above we just took out the daily balance high. So now the daily is one time framing up, meaning we're setting up higher highs and higher lows. Trend is starting to go up. So we took out the daily balance high, but we closed back inside it. So did we stretch it or did we take it out? I'm gonna call us up. So going into next week, you want to see us continue to one time frame up. If you were to take all of today's range, if you were to take the day's range, or even 75% of that range, and then put it on top of where we closed, you'll be looking to get up to the second target here that I have marked on the chart. So our second target, or our first target, is right there at 1547. Second target's at 1586. I took a 100 lot call play at 15 call for February 17th. Bottom at around 70 cents, I believe, per contract. And right now, I believe it's sitting up about 5 grand or something of that nature. So pretty good return just off of today alone. So if this continues to one time frame up, we'll look to take about 25 off at the first target, another 25 off at the second target, and then see if we continue to grind up higher to our final destination up here at 13 or at 1745, or which is our third target, which we'll look to take off the rest of our trade there. So overall, doing well so far. One time framing up, breaking out of balance. Let's look at another stock real quick, one that is interesting, one that's had everybody's eye this week. Tesla. Cannot look at this. All right, absolutely insane. All right, so after coming down into our lows around 101, we have a gap up. I believe we fill that gap, a gap up, we hold the gap, gap up, filled the gap a little bit, had earnings, massive gap up, and so far we've been running up. Daily's been one time framing up for 2 days now after coming into a balance here right before earnings. We gap up above the 50-day moving average, and right now we are pumping to the upside. The question is, does the gap hold? It's a good possibility, as today's volume was at 305 million. Its average volume is right around 179 million. Paul brought this up in his video today. I figured I'd bring it up and kind of notify you guys today. Maybe this is either a lot of shorts getting out of their positions, or long-term money stepping into the market, buying Tesla at a lower price because they believe it's a good name. I believe it's a good name for the long term, for the long run. Really, really good buy here, even at 170 for the long term. Me personally, I'd probably wait to see if this gap filled to get long at the 50-day moving average, and then try to target 232, 200-day moving average, which at the time probably be around 220. But that would be the target. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Catch you guys next week going into the Fed.